Well, hey everybody, it is the second day of March 2026. I'm Jan Erickson and this is As Above, So Below. Well, let's see, I'm not sure why things seem a little weird here. Maybe I bumped my screen. I probably did that. Anyhow, I forgot yesterday was Sunday. I mean, I knew it in the morning, but then, with what's going on in the world right now, I don't know. 11 o'clock rolled around, we're getting ready to go to bed, and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't do it. My husband's like, well, do you want to go do it now? I'm like, no, I don't. I'm half asleep. Anyway, so apologies for that. The stuff is out on the blog, though, over at Stepping Aside. Web address there's imsteppingaside.com. If you forget, click on more below the video and a box will open. It'll be right there at the top. Let's go ahead and get started. And see what we have for today, or for the week, I should say. We have Perthro. Now, Perthro is the 14th rune of the Elder Futhark. It means chance or luck. It's also the dice from which, or the cup from which dice are tossed or the runes are cast. Although I don't use a cup, I use a bag that I crocheted a long time ago. Anyway, Perthro is an interesting rune. It's directional. This is open to birth. This is death. This is the womb, essentially. This is drawing down emanations from spirit, if you will. But basically, when I draw Perthro, it's about who controls your fate. That's kind of a big thing right now since Saturday and the events that began on Saturday. But again, whether it's collective, which it may be here, this may be a bigger than an individual reading, or it is an individual reading. There could be issues that come up for you this week where, it's about who's controlling your fate. Are circumstances doing it? Do you feel controlled by others? Or are you going to control your fate by the choices that you make? Let's see. This one is earth. That's air. This is water. And this is fire. So, okay, we've got populace, which is a passive influence. It's the opposite or complement of via. Where is populace? Is this populace? Yeah. This is about being a follower, following the crowd. Again, an interesting pairing with Perthro here about who's going to control your fate. Are you going to stand up, or are you going to follow along and essentially go with whatever authority says is true, or are you going to look into it yourself and decide something else is true? That could be one way to look at that if you're looking at this globally here. Who do you trust? Are you just going to be a passive presence in something in your life this week, or are you going to take the bull by the horns and try to find out the truth of something and make your own decision? Now, which may end up, after you decide, it may be that, yeah, the collective is correct and you're going in the right direction. But I think that it really needs to be looked at with a critical eye, and one that is less reactive and more fact-based, understanding the overall picture. Perthro is also about cause and effect. It can be about childbirth. It can be about synchronicity. But again, who is controlling you this week and how you see things? Do you see them from an ego perspective, or do you see them from a higher perspective? So I cut the deck, took the lower half. Well, this is interesting. Let me get my calculator out here so I can do the numerology here. I've got 2 cards from the Major Arcana, the Magician and the Sun, which are interesting. And then the 2 of Swords, about making decisions in a dispassionate way. So again, not doing it in a reactionary way, but gathering the facts, gathering the information that you need. So that's kind of interesting. This whole thing sort of dovetails together, and I think it can apply either to your personal life or to what's happening around us right now. But let's go ahead and do the numerology. So 14 again it's the 14th rune of the Elder Futhark Perthro is, and we've got 1 for the Magician, plus I think it's 19, isn't it, for the Sun? Plus 19, plus 2. So we've got 36. Let me do that one more time. 14 plus 1 is 15, plus 19 plus 2, 36. So 3 and 6 are 9. 9 is about endings and completion. It's about spirituality and generosity of spirit, you could say. You can combine the 2 there. But something's coming to an end, and maybe your willingness to go along with a crowd that seems to give over its agency, if you will, to people that are lying, to people that are deceiving. Maybe we all need to just check ourselves a little bit here this week and see where that comes in. In a sense, it can mean that we're lying to ourselves by believing people that really they don't have our best interests at heart, and they have an agenda, and they expect you to, or each one of us, to believe things that are just simply not true. I think that we've been coming to this point collectively, in the country especially, where we're going to have to, people that don't understand yet are going to have to start understanding now, and maybe what's happening, the choices that people in power here have made, without taking into account the truth about anything. Clearly, they're motivated by another type of an agenda that has nothing to do with any of us, but we're being used, essentially. Now, whether that's collectively or happening in your personal life, how we want to manifest here is going to matter. We have the Magician. And again, Magician's drawing awareness down from spirit. You start with the Fool. It takes its leap into form. That's the soul, at least in my opinion. And through the Magician manifests its physical reality and the world it's going to be living in, the gender, all of that, of who they are, and whatever that looks like for them. And in this case, the Magician is drawing down from spirit, as well as has his tools on the table, which represents the 4 elements as well as the 4 suits of the tarot. You see lilies and roses, so there's love and there's newness, there's new beginnings here. And you see the lemniscate, the figure 8 above his head, the Magician's head. And that's the cyclical nature of things. And so the kinds of things, it's not just going to be one thing that you're going to be learning when you decide to come into form and explore whatever the Creator has for you. It's to look at. It's an endless type, an eternal type of an experience. So lots of different things you'll be exploring, lots of things that can manifest. But you're the one that's going to do that. You're the one that's going to manifest your will in a way that draws on higher consciousness, so that you can manifest this new experience that you're going to be having. Now, if that means that you're going to be, in terms of Perthro, you're going to choose to control your own fate and to understand the cause and effect of things, and to understand the truth behind the perception, essentially, then that's what it means. And to reject the idea, and maybe this is something everybody's going to be doing with populace, or you reject the idea of just simply being the sheeple that goes along with the crowd and does whatever they're told without even questioning anything. So you're going to take a more active role in your life this week. This is certainly a fire element type of although it's balanced elements here essentially, because you've got them all here on the table. But at the same time, it's a very will-oriented type of expression with the magician. You're going to manifest what you see, you're going to manifest what you experience, you're going to manifest what you believe, you're going to manifest the truth about things. And I think I think I'm going to leave these in the order that I drew them. Whenever you draw, I'll just back up a little bit. Whenever you draw cards from the major arcana in a tarot reading, you're looking at soul archetype cards. So these are the heavier weighted type of soul-based information that you need to know. So when you manifest truth, when you manifest your will, and you do not follow along with the crowd who believes everything the dear leader says, essentially, then you're going to look into what the truth is yourself, and in the final analysis, you're going to be successful here with the sun. You see here the idea of the light returning. You've got clarity, you've got success. So right away, you know together that if you follow what you need to do with the magician in terms of manifesting your own will and understanding and path forward, if you will, and deciding, the difference between perception and truth, and being passive or being active in terms of how you do that. With the sun, then you're looking at happiness and fulfillment, awakening, the light returning, success. It can indicate the sun sign, so the self, although technically speaking, your ascendant or your rising sign is going to have more of an impact on your daily life than will that overall sun sign have. Although, and it just depends on the individual, I guess. My ascendant is Virgo, my sun sign is Libra, and so you can see both with me. But it's like in those moments of real, I hate to say the unconscious side, because it's really the conscious side of self is the soul, and what you see in this reality is not. It's the soul integrating into all of this physical reality, and so it almost seems to me like the ascendant is that voice, that inner voice inside, and then the sun sign would be your expression of all of that overall. And so, but with the sun, if you're looking at clarity, you manifest in full clarity. And so again, then that would suggest that if that's a change in how you function in life, where you tend to be more willing to believe what people tell you, especially if it's somebody you've invested a lot of emotion into, maybe you need to take a step back and understand the cause and effect that's happening at this time, who's really causing it, and is what you're then following the effect of that cause. So who's controlling the controller, in other words? Is there something like that that's truly happening? Where maybe there are individuals, say it's at say it's at work or something, and you've got what's the real control behind what the boss is wanting you to do, or the supervisor's wanting you to do? Let's say it that way. Who's controlling the supervisor? Well, the boss is. Well, is there coherence there, or is the supervisor trying to get you to do things that make that person look good, but not necessarily the business itself? There just could be little things that are happening behind the scenes that you got to look deeper into. Otherwise, you may be expected to do things that really compromise your values, or compromise what you really know to be true. And so again, who's controlling your fate? Will it be you? Will you do that in full manifested will from higher consciousness and awaken to the clarity and the truth of that? That's the decision you need to make this week here. And here you have the woman sitting on a bench with her back to the water. The water's a little bit choppy, so there's emotion there, even though this is the suit of swords and that's intellect. 2 is about decisions. It can be about love and balance and healing and reciprocity. But here she's blindfolded and her arms are crossed and she's got a sword in each hand. And she's having to make a decision about something dispassionately. All right. So that you don't have any of the emotion that's behind her represented by the water come into play. You don't have the trying to reason things out in a way that ignores emotion. So instead, it's just trying to go within and find the real balance that you need to find in terms of a decision that you need to make. And so again, if it's having to step back and say, you know what, I've sort of been following this path with everybody, and now I'm beginning to see that was not the thing to do, that there's more to this. So you're going to awaken to that truth today and this week. I think that there's a lot of things happening collectively in the country and in the world that's going to give you a lot of food for thought, essentially. And you want to do it without emotion. You want to do it with in a balanced way that maybe whatever perceptions you have that are intellectual, you need to kind of let go of them and try to look at the facts and not let any of that, not what you thought you knew, not what you've been told you should know, not what the path you've been following suggests, and step back and say, okay, let me look at this now and see who's really controlling my fate. Am I giving that over to perceptions that just are not true, that have been put there, that I've allowed to be put there? Because it's your choice, always, what you believe. And if you've been believing things that now you're starting to rethink and say, I'm not so sure about that. Maybe I was lied to, then now it's time. Are you going to give your fate over to that individual or group of individuals who's been selling you a bill of goods, basically? Or are you going to take matters into your own hands and find out what the truth is and manifest, essentially, through higher will, the clarity that you need to have to understand what's really happening around you so you see things more clearly. And then you're going to have to make a decision. Now, wherever you want to put this card, maybe you want to put it at the beginning and think about it that way. But I'm just going to leave it where it is and just suggest to you that there's a decision you need to make, and you need to do it by letting go of passivity, letting go of giving yourself away and your perceptions to what other people want you to believe, and think for yourself, and allow that higher clarity to come in and define the decision that you need to make in terms of who's going to control your fate this week. I think this is a really important time collectively, obviously. And whether or not this applies on a personal level, you can still draw the same conclusions here. If you feel like something isn't right in your personal life, and you feel pulled in a direction you're no longer comfortable being pulled in, then there's your decision that you have to make. Who's going to control your fate here? Is it going to be you or whoever you've given your choices and your perceptions away to? It's time right now that we all think for ourselves and look at what's going on in a very dispassionate, non-reactive way, to follow the facts and follow the evidence and all of that, and make your decision as to what you're going to believe and whether or not you're going to give that over to somebody else and let them control it. Because maybe that's what's going on here. Maybe whatever this is, if it's personal or it's collective, maybe we've just done that. Too many have done that, just given it away to somebody else and been a passive force in your life instead of acting with higher will and to act in higher clarity and make the decisions from there. So anyhow, I think that's it. I don't think I really want to, because I'll get going in this, in it. Anyway, you don't need that. So anyway, thanks for watching. And again, I'm sorry that Sunday slipped by me, but it did. And I was just way too focused on all this other stuff going on, I guess. And I'm like, is this Sunday? It's like, yeah, it's 11 o'clock. Oh my God. So anyway, thanks for watching. And again, stuff's up over on the blog for the week, the weekly forecast, the daily readings, all that. Everything, the correspondences for Work and Magic, all up this week for this whole week of the 1st through the 7th. And come back again, hopefully on Sunday, for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.